Tag, Kinders, Captain's ist wieder mal am Start mit einer neuen Folge von The ReZero, The Prophecy of the Throne. Wir kommen gerade frisch aus der Menschen von Priscilla und verfolgen eigentlich den großen, bösen, maskierten Mann namens Wolf. Und da sind wir gerade. We find ourselves in a back alley after chasing the masked man. This place shouldn't have any other outlets, but there's no sight of that conspicuous figure.
スバル君、落ち着いてください。一体誰を探しているんですか？
全身に黒い布をかぶった大男だ。名前はウォルフ。俺たちの敵だ。
I instinctively respond to him, immediately clutching my chest after. For a moment, I'm worried that divulging such information would have that mysterious hand wrap around my heart again, but when I try to reveal my return by death ability, my heart is punished by unseen hands. The pain is beyond imagination, but it seems like I'm safe this time. Still don't understand what triggers this penalty. As irritating as it is, I continue speaking to Rem as she stares at me in wonder. Damn it, I'm not being very persuasive. I don't have any evidence of what I'm saying, so I have to convince her somehow, but I can't find the right words to say. I need to persuade them somehow, and... Sie glaubt dir alles, was du sagst, Subaru. As I rack my brain, trying to find the words to convince her, Rem answers me with an earnest look in her eyes. In an instant, I become embarrassed at myself. Rem trusts in me, that's why she doesn't need any detailed explanation. And even I couldn't do something as boorish as point out that things here now. Fueled by Rem's enthusiasm, I'm ready to resume our pursuit. But at the moment, our conversation's over, I turn around to give chase, but for a brief moment I catch a whiff of something sweet. My mind goes blank, wondering what it is, but then I notice someone's shadow overtaking my own beneath me. I immediately look up and see a massive figure descending upon me. Oh, der gute Wolf kommt von oben. Rem pulls me by the collar, intercepting the surprise attack with her morning star. A sharp metallic sound rings out as Wolf spirals onto the ground in the alley. He looks at us with a mask that hides his true expression. Genau. Wollen wir nicht hier rassistisch sein, ja? Aussehen muss nicht gleich immer bedeuten, dass er Finger am Stecken hat. Genau. Wolf spreads his arms and shrugs, his way of showing he doesn't harbor any hostility. Of course I know not to let my guard down around him, so I don't fall for his act. Der ist vernünftig, Rem. Gutes Kind. With that, Rem steps forward. Before I know it, her trusty morning star is clutched firmly in her hands. Genau. Ist er, glaube ich, wirklich nicht. Er geht ja nur durch die Gegend. Greifen die einfach an. Eigentlich sind wir hier gerade die Bösen, ne? Er geht hier durch die Straßen und wir attackieren ihn einfach. Wir verfolgen ihn und attackieren ihn. Die sind schon irgendwie scheiße. That guy? Wer denn?
それだけで厄介なたちだからな。見逃してもらえないってんならしょうがない。じゃあやるとしますか、ご両人。
Wolf makes the first move as the words leave his lips. He draws in his spread hands, using the momentum to launch out some seemingly ordinary knives. But with 10 or 20 of them, it goes without saying how deadly they could be. Versteckt er denn da 10 bis 20 Meter? With a short breath, Ram swings a chain of a morning star, knocking away all of the daggers. A shrill sound echoes in the alley. We manage to get through the enemy's first move, signaling the start of the battle. A fierce battle breaks out between Wolf, who seems to be enjoying the fight, and Rem, who doesn't hide her rage for her opponent. Blow for blow, all I can do is watch. The fight between Rem and Wolf seesaws back and forth. At the very least, an amateur who has no way to tell the small details, revealing which side has an advantage. So it doesn't take a professional to tell who won once the dust settles, and at that point it'd be too late to try and turn the tables. I can't be careless here and get in Rem's way. Keep that in mind as I scrutinize how Wolf fights. It's maybe a strange way to put it, but when Rem swings the Morning Star around, it's as vicious as a small-scale tempest. Wolf uses only his body movements to evade her attacks, and just when you think a hit will land, he definitely avoids it with a quick flick of a dagger to avoid the impact. Seeing how his daggers don't break his precise control over his strength is beyond proficient. His skills could be considered first class on acrobatic feat. Sometimes he'd even throw a dagger with such speed and precision that Ram can't aggressively close in on him. They're perfect rivals. No, even looking at it in a biased light, Wolf has a slight advantage. In other words, if I don't step in, Ram will lose. I can't just stand here and not do anything. That's why. Ram and Wolf tense up once they hear me shout and see me moving about. Ram grows frantic and Wolf laughs just as his mask portrays. Immediately after Wolf says this, a dagger is thrown straight at me. To a congenital non-fighter like me, it's just like a white flash. The side of my corpse after the dagger digs straight into the forehead with no way to stop the flickers in my mind. But it's just my imagination. I quickly pull an upper out of my pocket, barely managing to block the dagger from lodging into my skull. That gamble paid off. I figured he'd take a stab at me if I showed him an opening. He tried to shake up Ram by doing so, but the outcome worked in my favor. Now? Oh, macht Fotos. I'd taken my cell phone out with the upper. I pointed at Wolf, then activated its camera. A white light cuts through the dark alleyway, assaulting our masked foe. Trying to blind him won't be that effective with his mask on, but surely gives us a chance to act. Mir erwischt. His movements interrupted. Ram slams a morning star into him. Spiked ball collides into Wolf with incredible momentum, and he stands still, then sends him flying away. Flips and tumbles, and even just how much damage was inflicted on his body, having experienced such a blow myself, that single strike managed to obliterate half my body. Goes without saying that Wolf won't fare very well either. Wolf crashes into a wall in the alley. Slumping over, he doesn't move or cry out in pain.
やったのか。手応えはありました。ですが、油断はできません。
Rem looks tense, not letting her guard down as she moves closer to Wolf. Her cautionary reaction is the right approach. We can't mess up here.
レム、そいつには多分相手のマナを吸い取るって特技がある。十分注意してくれ。
相手のマナを。わかりました。では。
Heeding my warning, Rem stops in her tracks and raises her morning star. She most likely intends on hitting him from this distance. Delivering the killing blow that way is probably the best choice right now. If possible, I'd like to talk to him to find out who hired him and who he's involved with. But he isn't someone who can be taken so lightly. That's why Rem's decision is the right one here. This assassin should be dealt with right here and now.
Subaru 君は目をつむっていても大丈夫です。これはレムの仕事ですから。
Ram tells me as much without turning around, ramping up my fight at the scene. I wanna say I'm fine, but I know better than anyone that it would be nothing. Me trying to put on a strong front. Ach, fright. Vorhin habe ich Fight gesagt, da steht fright. Pardon, habe ich mich verlesen. The sound of chains fills my ears. Ram is about to deliver the final blow.
何?
Not yet, sagt er. Oh, jetzt war das nicht. Wolf's muscles scrunch together as he puts all his strength into standing up, muttering the whole time. Jetzt haben wir das doch gehört. Na sowas. Rem raises her morning star, a sign that she doesn't plan on letting Wolf have his way. Have your way, have a Kit Kat. Right before she rains hell on him, that sweet fragrance tickles my nose again. It's the same scent that alerted me to Wolf's original attack. All happens in a moment. Drawn by sweet scent, I turn my head and notice a red light appearing. Realize it's fire, and it's headed straight for Rem's defenseless back. I immediately jump onto Rem's back, pushing her light body out of the way. She screams, looking at me in shock. Her light blue eyes reflect light as they open wide. Then... oh. In an instant, my body is engulfed. Ach du Scheiße. The boy burned. I shout as I fall and roll around on the ground. The fire, these bright flames burn my body straight down to my very soul. Spricht. Sieht nicht nett aus. Eventuell ist Loop 3 hier schon vorbei. Der ist früh. As I burn. Ah, spricht.
冷たい水が浴びせられる。しかし、水の冷たさも一瞬のこと。1秒と持たずに。
Nee, nur Mono spricht, heißt es eigentlich, er geht drauf. Zumindest war es bei den letzten beiden Malen so.
俺の体の焼却作業は継続中。腕、足、それから顔も。 白い手がゆする。当然炎はその白い手をも焼こうとする。だから痛いはずだ。痛いはずなのに手は離れない。俺を、もうダメな俺を助けようとして。お願いだから頼むからやめてくれ。自分のことを考えてくれ。そうでなくちゃ。
スバル君、スバル君、
そうでなくちゃ。
スバル君。
そうでなくちゃ。お前の後ろに立つ悪党がお前を。俺を呼ぶ声が聞こえなくなる。それは俺の耳が死んだからなのか、それとも声の主に何かがあったからなのか。前者であってくれ。俺の耳を死んでいてくれ。泣き叫ぶあの子に何もないでくれ。頼むから。
あいつを勝たせる。
頼むから。俺の耳が死んでない可能性をこれ以上思わせないでくれ。頼むから。頼むから。頼むから。
Tja, da sind wir wohl wieder tot. Na, sowas aber auch. Das an Tag 3. Warte, wir starten Loop 4 schon an Tag 3? Ach, sowas. I'm in a dark, dark place. So deep I could sink forever, so fast that I could drift away without ever stopping. I feel so helpless, I can't even tell what I'm anymore. Where am I and what happened? This place seems so familiar yet uncomfortable and foreign at the same time. If I know this place, when do I know it from? If I don't, then why don't I? Because this place is... One villain. A swaying shadow stands before me. Is it standing? No, I don't think that's quite right. Land nor the heavens exist here. The shadow just wavers as if it's under... As if it's underwater. So, yeah, anyone who stands on solid ground is an unnatural one. Shadow whispers something. Its lips move. How can I hear those whispers? Why can I see those moving lips? How odd. It's incomprehensible. I don't get it. I can't. It can't be. It's wrong. Some sort of mistake, but I can't correct it. No more. I can't take it. Let me out of here. Shadow comes closer. The words become clearer. But I don't want to hear them. I don't want to hear anymore. Because if I realize the meaning of those words, it'll become hard for me to leave. Da ist er wieder.
聞いてんのかよ、兄ちゃん。もう話は終わったんだろうが。
Stimme wieder vom Typen hier?
頼むぜ、兄ちゃん。こっちも商売なんだからよ。
Seit wann springt er so hin und her mit seinen Rücksetzpunkten? Das war bei den letzten beiden Loops nicht der Rücksetzpunkt. Hear an energetic voice in front of me and another familiar loving voice from my side. Oh, loving. My brain processes the two, then I slowly take a deep breath. I look around and take in the sight of the two who just spoke to me. Two familiar faces. Then I look down at my hands, opening and closing them. I can move them. He can move my feet too. So I push open the door to my memories. In that moment, a certain red sight flashes before my eyes.
Subaru-kun?
I fall to my knees, and the blue-haired girl knows it's Rem. Rem desperately calls out my name, but I can't even bring myself to answer her. I'm too busy checking my throat, skin, and limbs to make sure they didn't burn away. Just saying that out loud sends a chill down my spine. In those final moments, I'd been engulfed in flames and incinerated. My throat was burning, my lungs were melting, my stomach boiling. The memory of all that pain comes flooding back. I can hardly breathe. I'd heard the people usually died in fires from inhaling toxic gases that make them lose consciousness, burning up from the flames afterward. When I died that time, I didn't even have the reprieve to faint from the gas. I was conscious through it all as I was burned alive. The pain of knowing my body would be rendered completely useless broke me. The death of the body kills the mind along with it. Even now, after returning by death, my heart still burns. Ah, das klingt wie ein Songtext.
落ち着いて深呼吸してください。レムが一緒についていますから。
Rem puts her arms around me in an embrace. I can feel the warmth coming from her body. He terrifies me at first, but the steady beat of her heart washes away the tension in my body.
大丈夫ですから。ゆっくりと落ち着いて呼吸して。
She speaks gently as if to soothe a baby, and I listen intently. Fear doesn't go away and the despair doesn't fade. But little by little I can feel the infernal flames that had once burnt me alive weakening.
ねえ、もういいのか？
ああ、驚かせて悪かった。
Nee, der Junge wird gerade verbrannt, Mensch.
立て直せたよ。
いきなりは驚くぜ、本当によ。そのまま店の前でイチャつかれた日にゃ、ただでさえ遠い客足が余計に遠のく。
それ笑っていい冗談。
The shopkeeper's eyes turn to serious glare, so I refrain from laughing and avert my gaze instead.
では、お支払いはこちらで。ご迷惑をおかけして申し訳ありません。
Och, you are
ジ
too
ョーちゃんに
precious.
かけられた面倒はねえさ。兄ちゃんの方はちっと周りを見る。
大いに反省するよ。
The sense of defeat weighs down on me as I take the bag of apples, not knowing how to respond properly. The bag is heavy.
また明日な。
さすがに明日はわかんねえよ。
He sends us off with a parting joke, and we finally walk away from his stall.
ああ、その。
Die Frage, ist das vor oder nach, Anastasia? After putting some distance between us and the stall, I finally managed to churn the words out. The returning by death Rem held me in her arms for some time as the shock of it all brought me to my knees. It helped me recover mentally, but my masculinity took a hit. Because of that, I can hardly look Rem in the face. It's too painful to think she might look at me like I'm pathetic.
そんなに不安がらなくて
Sie
大
glaubt
丈
doch
夫
nicht,
で
dass
す
du
よ。
pathetic bist.
どんなスバル君の姿を見ても、レムは幻滅する
Dafür
よ
ist
う
sie
な
zu
ことはあ
toll.
りません。子供みたいに震えて、鼻水を垂らして泣きじゃくっていても、スバル君は素敵です。
それはさすがにどうかと思うな。そっち側の限界を試したくもないし。
はい。レムもできれば、スバル君のかっこいいところが見たいです。
Seeing her smile shatters my shield of shame and disgrace. All that's left underneath is the raw, exposed Subaru Natsuki.
つまり、ただの俺か。レムはすげえな。
でも、スバル君の方がすごいんですよ。
The fact she even says things like that makes her all the more extraordinary.
このまま褒め合い合戦するのもやぶさかじゃねえが、もたもたしてる余裕はない。レム、すげえ変な確認をするんだが、さっき店の前でさくらさんと会ったよな。
はい、使者として屋敷へいらしたメルティ様の陣営のさくら様ですよね。お会いしました。
Dann wollten wir gerade zu Priscilla, oder? Take a deep breath, now convinced my thought was right. My save points changed drastically from before. Until now, it'd be locked at Arlam Village a few days ago, but now it's changed. It's been updated to a few hours before we run into Wolf unexpectedly.
正直、死に戻りのメカニズムは分かってないことが多すぎるが。
There was that battle for the insignia at the loot house, and the fight at the manor about my curse. These have been my only two previous returns by death. Each of my save points to return by death didn't change during either of those incidents, but now it has. It may have shifted, but I can't imagine all our problems have been taken care of.
そもそも誰が設定してるかも分かってねえのに当てにはできねえよ。
If returned by death, I can say with confidence that each time I've changed the results of impending disasters. But I can't rely on these powers. It's way too risky to keep clinging to something or someone that I don't know when they'll disappear. And above all, I'm afraid to die. It's painful, it's terrifying. I don't want to make any plans where my death is needed to reset.
せめて前向きに考えよう。
Now that my save point has moved, I can't change anything that's happened before today or after the official announcement of the Royal Selection's delay. Emilia didn't come to Royal Capital this time, and we've already met with the other royal candidates. Well, all except for Priscilla. Speaking of, she's been the focal point of everything we've been doing from this point on. I take a few deep breaths to calm myself. I can't afford to make a single mistake from here on out. All the suffering I've been through would otherwise be wasted.
レム、これからプリシラの屋敷に向かう。屋敷の場所は知ってるから問題ないんだが、それとは別の問題が待ってる。
別の問題ですか？
さっきの酒場でも言ったろ。アナスタシアさんを狙ってる奴がいる。それと同じ忠告をプリシラにもしたいが、ぶっちゃけそいつが直接来る可能性が高い。
I debated on how best to tell Rem of the situation, but with little time left I decided to be blunt. When Rem and I cornered Wolf last time, he was wandering around near Priscilla's manor. Already gone after Anastasia, so if he's targeting the royal candidates, it makes sense that he'd go after Priscilla too.
では、プリシラ様にも警告を。
それは当然と言いたいとこなんだが。
If I talk to Priscilla, she'd keep an eye out for Wolf. While that'd be good for her, I don't know if that'd be enough. Last time I told Rem to kill Wolf because of how dangerous he is, but it'd be better if we could catch him instead. Remember that he muttered something in his final moments. I want to find out what all he was trying to say. Once I do, I should be able to get the bottom of all this. That's why, sagt er. There's no guarantees this will work, but this has always been how I fight. Dive into the sea of the unknown and launch the torpedo based on Vogue information. I'm always scared to do it, so I need someone who will give me that final push.
はい、何でも言ってください。
Rem's enthusiasm is exactly the push I need. Shadow slowly rises from the darkness. It scans its surroundings, nefariously sneaking about.
はい。
Schon am helllichten Tag?
あれがスバル君の言っていた怪しい輩ですね。
Ram and I lurk behind anything we can find carefully, squinting into the darkness. That's definitely Wolf, just as I expected. He appears as we keep watch at Priscilla's manor. Doubt he'd suspect that anyone would be lying in wait for him to show.
このまま奴の後をつけよ
ここで仕掛けなくていいんですか？
う。俺たちが飛び出していって、さあ話し合おうってなればいいんだが、そういう関係でもないからな。それにここで戦いになると、あいつが人通りの多いところへ出てって周りを巻き込まないとも限らない。理想はあいつの雇い主を見ることだ。それがダメでも誰も巻き込まないところで戦いたい。
わかりました。レムも邪魔はいない方が安心できます。
Ram agrees with me, albeit for a slightly different reason, but now that we're both on the same page, we continue after Wolf. He enters an alley and moves deftly to the right and left. Trail after him, trying not to lose sight of him, but also trying not to be seen. We keep a good distance as we stay on his tail.
どこに行く気だ?
At the very least, I know Wolf won't harm Priscilla today. If he did, I would have heard about it during my previous loops.
それも過信できない。
Last time we came to the Royal Capital was the first time Emilia wasn't with us. Wolf attacked Anastasia and I then. It's hard to say if Emilia not being around will affect Wolf's actions. Come to think of it, it's possible his target shifted to Priscilla precisely because Emilia wasn't present.
見失えない、見つかれない。両方やらなきゃいけないのが尾行の大変なところだ。覚悟はいいか？
レムはできてます。
よし、その意気だ。続けるぞ。
So, und wie das Ganze weitergeht, Kinders, werden wir dann in der nächsten Episode erfahren. Ich bedanke mich wie immer recht herzlich dafür, dass ihr mal dazu gesehen habt. Macht's gut, bleibt noch schade. Ich genieße das Wetter, genieße das Leben, mal rein. Bis denn. Ciao.